I believe growth to be one of the most important, if not the most important, component of a happy and fulfilling life. While growth can happen in any area of our life, I have found that growth in one area has an indisputable effect on every other area of our life. Deloitte, one of the biggest professional services firms, defines growth in the workplace as the alignment between work and personal goals and development of the employee. Personal and professional growth is a very important factor for an employee to choose and stay with a particular job or organization over others. While growth is crucial for every employee of an organization, it is important for organizations too to provide growth opportunities to their employees. Case in point, Schneider Electric found that almost half of the employees who left the organization left because of a lack of growth opportunity. Organizations that place an emphasis on growth opportunities for their employees enjoy competitive advantages with better business outcomes and employees who are highly skilled. In fact, high-performing organizations are 37 times more likely to help their employees achieve their long-term career goals. Growth can happen in different ways. For someone, growth happens in the same place over the years. In the workplace context, they could be happy with their job, their company, and their social relationships at work, so they find ways to grow in the same place with new projects, learning new skills, getting raises. Someone else may find growth by changing companies or by changing careers altogether. For both, there are for sure challenges that they may face. Facing those challenges and overcoming them is what makes them grow. Growth may mean different things to different people. If we take the example of an employee of a company and an entrepreneur, growth for these two usually takes different forms. An employee is, generally speaking, either looking for a promotion or to learn. An entrepreneur, on the other hand, is mostly concerned with the success of their company in terms of measurable indicators. Growth in different moments in time may mean different things. When we start our first job after graduation, we have a lot of growth ahead of us. So in the beginning, even during the first year only, the learning that we do on the job every day is a big leap forward for us. Conversely, when we've been working for decades, we may feel like we have grown only when considering a longer period of time, and on a day-to-day basis, we may not be learning anything really new. In the meantime, if we've been struggling with our job for a while, and after thinking for some time we decide to leave our job and look for another one, this in itself is growth for us. Stopping something that isn't giving us anything good and jumping into the unknown with the hope of finding something better is growth. We should appreciate all different kinds of growth that happen in our life. And when growth does not look like the typical growth, the growth that society tends to refer to as such, that is, more money or a higher position, we should not beat ourselves up over it and recognize that in the present moment, growth is maybe even just survival. I think many of you would agree with the fact that growth implies mistakes. Sometimes the biggest mistakes bring about the biggest growth. I have too made many mistakes in my life, in my professional life as well, but I have learned so much because of them. I don't think I would have learned as much if I hadn't made those mistakes. Success is not a straight line, as shown here by the graphic from Demetri Martin in his book, This is a Book. The bottom line is a quote that I love by Tony Robbins. No matter how many mistakes you make or how slow your progress, you are still way ahead of everyone who isn't trying. So when you're slowing down, know that that's still growth. When you make mistakes, that is definitely still growth. And if you stop moving, well, get out there and start making mistakes. Let's now bring our focus to what growth in the workplace may look like for us. I have found 6 significant elements that, when encountered in our work life, whether it has happened intentionally or not, show that we have grown. The first sign: we are serious about our most important goals, or we have found a higher goal. When it comes to goals at work, we might have several different ones. One could be learning and improving our skill set. Another could be getting to be a part of leadership or getting promotion after promotion. Yet another goal is our organization success. We might find our personal goal changing from time to time, which is something perfectly normal. When we really grow in the context of our goals and objectives is when our efforts and our work is fully aligned with these goals and objectives. To put it differently, we have found the right ingredients that, if we stick to them, will lead to the achievement of our goals and objectives. The only thing that it will take is time. 2, we look for kindness. Sometimes we might put our emphasis on our personal growth in the workplace. Sometimes what this translates to is working on our soft skills. Other times what it is particularly kindness. At this point, we are no longer motivated so much by the money, the reputation, or the position, but rather we look for and we appreciate the good people at work and good relationships. Inevitably, when we focus on our relationships, we are working on cultivating our own kindness. Why I chose kindness in particular among many other desirable qualities is because kindness is one of the most needed qualities to have in the workplace, and at the same time one of the most overlooked ones. Kindness can be shown in various ways in the workplace: by giving compliments, by helping someone else, by praising someone, by simply saying thank you and sorry. When we are looking for kindness, it makes us be more kind towards others and makes us more receiving of kindness by others at the same time. All this time, we are more predisposed to notice the acts of kindness that others do. And as the proverb goes, kindness begets kindness. 3, we look for opportunities. In the workplace, we might very often come across naysayers. Hell, we might have been one at one point. When we start to grow, though, we start to be more open to new challenges or anything that presents itself as an opportunity. It could be an opportunity to learn something new that will help us in our job. It could be something that helps our colleague or our manager in their job. It could open the door to a step up in the leadership of the company. It could introduce us to a new future career opportunity or a good acquaintance. Taking in any opportunity makes us grow. Now, sometimes it is not really possible for us to remain open to just any new opportunity. Not because we don't want to, but it could be because our hands are already full with our own tasks, or we might be in the process of learning a new skill for us, or any other reason, maybe not even so closely related to our work. In which case, it is okay. We should not beat ourselves up about it, but rather try to think of it as something temporary. We are busy for right now, but later we will take on something new. The idea being, we should not be adamant that we do not need or we do not want any new challenges. It would be like saying, I don't need improvement, and sooner or later we all do. 4, we accept criticism and appreciation. On 2 extremes, we have, on the one hand, the employee who thinks very highly of themselves and their work, and so is not open to any criticism. On the other hand, we have the employee who thinks very harshly of themselves, believing that they do not deserve appreciation, and hence, when receiving any signs of appreciation, they will play down their effort and achievement. While we might all find ourselves fluctuating in between these 2 extremes from time to time, it is important to acknowledge that if and when we're somewhere in between them, we have grown. If we're not there yet, we could start by asking our manager or colleagues for feedback. And regardless of the feedback, we should listen to it. Maybe really force ourselves to hold our tongue and not speak our mind at all in the beginning, and then thank them for it. Then in private, we can let our possible frustration go and pay attention only to the content of the feedback and really see whether we think it holds up, and then see whether we can do something to improve it. In case it is appreciation that we receive, again, when that is happening, we should force ourselves to not say anything that minimizes our work and simply say, thank you, I appreciate it. And then maybe in private, we can allow ourselves to feel the way we would previously feel when receiving appreciation, but realizing that that force of will we had when we stopped ourselves from saying things like, oh, I didn't really do much, was in us all this time, can be very powerful and empowering. 5, we speak up. A lot of people have a hard time speaking up at work. The reason for speaking up could be to simply share our thoughts or our opinion on a particular issue. It could be to defend ourselves or our work. It could be to defend someone else or their work. It could be to congratulate someone. It is quite normal that when we start out in our career to withhold our thoughts and maybe share them with 1 or 2 colleagues. With time and experience, we generally grow more confident, and so we feel capable of speaking up without fearing any reactions or repercussions. When we are at this point, we have again grown. If speaking up is something difficult for us to do, let me say that it is really important to learn how to do it. Speaking up gives us confidence, shows our commitment to our job, as by speaking up we are trying and putting ourselves out there, and since not very many people do it, it shows our leadership potential. How can we get better at speaking up? This topic needs a whole video dedicated to it, but to get started, we can do small and simple, one step at a time. For instance, during a regular meeting where everyone talks about the things that they did during the week, we can extend our talk for a bit longer than the usual. If in another meeting we are discussing solutions to a problem, we can beforehand think of a solution and then propose it at the meeting, instead of, for example, sharing it with our colleague or with our manager after the meeting is over. And finally, 6, we can manage. Managing anything, our time, other people, and even ourselves sometimes requires time and discipline. The first step into learning how to manage anything is realizing how important it is to do so. For every and any employee, time management is one of the most important abilities to learn and to have. Different tasks and different people might need to be allotted different amounts of time. What we should do is pay attention to how long it takes for us to do a particular task. This not only makes us more focused on the work, on our task, increasing our productivity, but when applied on a regular basis, teaches us time management. If we don't yet feel like we manage our time well, we can start by applying different productivity techniques, such as the rule of 3, or the 2-minute rule, or any other. At the end of the day, it is up to each and every one of us to come up with things that are crucial to us, and that when working towards or having already achieved them, we can recognize growth in us. This is it for this week's video. I will see you in the next one.